Do you want to know about the time I ended up in the most amount of trouble I've ever been in my whole entire life? Why I had to clean up a spilt bucket full of barbecue sauce, paint, spit, wee, bleach, used cat litter, compost, and just about any other disgusting and smelly thing you can think of. Well, a little more than a few years ago now, when I was a kid, I was like 8 or 9, my dad started dropping me off at my cousin's house every Friday night for a sleepover. And when he would collect me on the Saturday afternoon the next day, it was like he was a completely different person. He had a huge smile on his face. He was cracking jokes. I even caught him singing and dancing in the kitchen. If you knew my dad at the time, you'd know how unlikely that was. But I had no idea what was making him so happy all of a sudden. But eventually he told me he had started dating someone, and he asked me would it be okay if her and her son came over at the weekend to meet me. Now, I'd seen enough family movies in the 90s to know that that probably wasn't good. We see all those movies revolve around this single parent who falls madly in love with a stranger, and this stranger turns out to be the most evilest person in the world. And not only do they hate the kid, but they're also only interested in marrying the kid's parents. They can steal a family heirloom or an inheritance or something. As you can imagine, the night before they were due to come over, I couldn't sleep. I was so worried about what this evil woman might be like. I imagined that she'd be tall, with straight dark hair, wearing this long black dress, and that her son would be this ginormous, ugly, gross, fat, horrible, disgusting bully. That's what they were always like in those films. But how did those movies always resolve themselves? Normally with a series of booby traps, expertly executed by the kid. So, in an effort to scare off this evil woman that was trying to steal my dad away from me, I decided I needed my own booby trap. Now, my bedroom window was directly above the front door, a perfect place to drop a bucket of nasty gunk all over this evil woman before she even had a chance to get through that front door. So, that night, I crept around the house and I filled this bucket full of the most nastiest, the most disgusting things I could find. And in the morning, I put it on the windowsill behind the curtain with the door slightly ajar, ready to dump it all over that evil woman and her ginormous, horrible, huge, grotesque son as soon as they arrived. And then I waited in my bedroom by the window for them to arrive. But when they arrived and they got out of the car, they didn't look evil at all. If anything, they looked more nervous and scared than my dad, he'd been nervously faffing about all morning. Well, the woman, she looked up and smiled and waved. She saw me in the window. It was a nice, gentle smile. Not evil at all. And her son, he was even younger and smaller than I was. Now, I figured it could all be part of her cunning plan to deceive me. But well, I thought I should at least give them a chance. I mean, I could always dump the bucket of doom all over them when they left if it turned out that she was horrible. But she, Emma, actually turned out to be super nice and funny. And my dad, he turned into this completely different person again. He was smiley and funny and giggly. So my mum, she died when I was 3. And if I'm being honest, I can hardly remember her. And up until then, it had just been pretty much me and my dad. And he's the greatest person in the world. And well, he's my best friend. And it was a big part of the reason why I didn't want this evil woman coming into our lives and ruining everything. But the truth is, until he'd started seeing Emma and I'd seen him be all happy and having a good time and smiling, I never really realised that actually he was quite a sad and unhappy person normally. So it was so nice to see him happy and just enjoying life, really. Oh, and Simon, her son, he actually turned out to be all right. I mean, I figured I could easily push him around. Anyway, after they left, my dad asked me, would it be okay if they came over again? Fine by me, sure. You know, they seem nice enough. Anyway, I was playing on my video games in the lounge later that evening, just chilling, and my dad was upstairs pottering around, when suddenly he yelled, "Louise, what the hell was in that bucket?" I'd completely forgotten all about the bucket. It had fallen inwards on my dad and all over the carpet in my room when he drew my curtains. Oh man, oh, he was so angry. I've never been in so much trouble before or since. Luckily, things are a bit different now. So Emma, she's my stepmom, she's so awesome. And Simon, well, he's not only my stepbrother, but he's actually one of my best friends. But the stain on the carpet in my room from the bucket, yeah, that's still there. Luckily, the smell's gone though.